Hello and welcome to India Career Center, the one stop podcast for students, professionals, parents, and guardians. In every episode, we will try to deal with a current topic that needs expert advice related to career guidance, and career mentoring. Please welcome your host, Dr. S.P. Mishra, to the show. And happy listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to India Career Center, and I'm happy to have with me today again Julian Martinson from Canada. Hi, Julian. Welcome back once again to our show. And how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody, and hello to all your listeners and your viewers that are following your program. And thank you so much for inviting me for a second time as a guest on your podcast.
Yeah. So today's conversation, we will focus on the recent report which was released by this organization called IATA. So you are the domain specialist. So I thought instead of I reading and understanding the report myself, why not actually lean on you to make us understand about the report and how this is an implication on the future careers for the young people. And I'm sure through this conversation, we will understand through your analysis about the report and how it has got the implications for the future in the aviation industry. So to start the conversation, can you explain us about more about IATA itself? What exactly IATA is, what is its role, and how it came about?
So in the aviation industry is obviously very complex because it's global. And so it requires multiple organizations to collaborate and bring order to this global industry. So it involves the collaboration of multiple countries, and each country obviously has their own rules and regulations and laws, and they're sovereign, and so they like to maintain their own sovereignty. Yet, so in this case, you still need to collaborate together. So in the world of aviation, there are two main organizations that are the global authorities or regulators of the industry. One is ICAO and the other one is IATA. And so today we're going to talk about the IATA report that came out recently, the 2024 report.
So, can you explain more about IATA and how it is different from the other organizations?
Okay, so IATA is responsible more for the airlines. So they regulate 260 airlines in the world, which represents about 83% of the global air traffic volume. So that is a significant part of the commercial aviation that they regulate. So it's quite a big sector of the industry. So IATA, they do industry standards and regulations. So they're the ones that stipulate pilot training and pilot credentials. And this is important, for example, because if a pilot is certified in the United States, for an example, and then they fly to Europe, for an example, their license needs to be recognized as standard for that designation of aircraft and that type of flying. And so it requires the recognition of internationally recognized credentials and regulations. IATA also does interline cooperation, which means the collaboration of airline tickets and purchases. So many airlines will purchase tickets from each other, especially in airline groups. Like the Star Lines, for an example. An airline, if a passenger missed an airplane, the airline will purchase a seat on another airline in order to move that passenger and bring that passenger to their destination. So this requires a payment, and IATA is also responsible for the collecting and handling of monies of this matter. They also do advocacy and representation for the industry to local governments to enforce certain policy regarding aviation sustainability, environmental issues. They also have a very strong training department and development. So they offer many courses for aviation professionals, anything from security, passenger handling, you name it, the entire gamma of the industry. They offer training programs. So for those young people that are seeking to progress in their careers, seeking credentials from IATA through their global academy or training programs is also highly recommended. They also do economic analysis and data services. So they collect data from the industry. For an example, how many aircrafts are registered, how many flight hours were conducted by airlines in Canada, for an example, or any other country for that matter. And then they collect that data and then they make tracking and data analysis based on that information. They also do passenger and cargo services, so which ensures that the global air transport operates smoothly and efficiently. And they also give environmental initiatives. So environmental issues are a big concern for the aviation industry, and they do recommendations, environmental sustainability recommendations. They put these forth, and then the countries will adopt those recommendations and make it a law or a best practice, which can be then enforced or implemented by the various aircraft, airlines or airports to implement the the environmental policy that's being presented.
Okay, so you mentioned that IATA actually represents about 80 to 83% of the total air traffic. Uh, is there any reason as to why all 100% are not covered through IATA?
Yes, there are some smaller airlines that are not regulated, or like private aviation, like the private small jets. Um, they they may not fall underneath those policies. So there's a couple of uh, things that fall outside of that regulatory umbrella. Um, so that's yeah, so it's 82% of the total air traffic, the global air traffic. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, if I understand correctly, IATA actually represents the entire air industry, which is basically the commercial air traffic,
Well,
which
this is
includes the passenger as well as the cargo.
yes, this is correct. So it's commercial aviation, obviously passengers and the cargo and freight that is associated with that. So we should not overlook the significance of cargo in the aviation world. A lot of items get shipped overnight by air. And this goes back to that blue sticker, the iconic blue sticker that came out that says par avion, which means in French it means by airmail. And so all the historically the postcards that were sent by air had that blue sticker. But the cargo includes also the shipment of horses, exotic animals, luxury vehicles, furs, pharmaceuticals, cell phones, high value items, time sensitive items. Um, so there's lots of and flowers also get shipped by air because they're very time sensitive, as well as fruits and vegetables from tropical locations, from tropical countries. So there's lots of stuff that gets sent by cargo as well that is not to be underlooked.
Right. Okay,
Mhm.
now moving on, I think let's look at the annual review report which was published recently by IATA. So take us through your highlights about what you understand from this report and how you read about the performance of 2023, 2024, and how it entails for the future also.
So the IATA issued the 2024 Aviation Industry Review. And so this year, it's a very critical year because the industry has, for the most part, recovered from the COVID pandemic. Although some of the numbers are a little bit lower, there have been a significant improvement over 2023. So mainly, the IATA report covers the financial performance of the industry, which shows a net profit of $30.5 billion, which is up $27.4 billion from 2023, which is a significant jump, and it is 3.1%, slightly higher than the previous year. The general revenues for the industry have reached $996 billion, and the expenses are coming in at $936 billion. So those are very big numbers. So it shows the strength of the global aviation industry. Air travelers hit 4.96 billion in 2024, which reflects the slow recovery growth in passenger demand and an increase of 11.6% from the previous year, which is a significant number because when you look at the rule of 72, I don't know if you're familiar with it, the rule of 72 shows the compounding, the interest rate divided by 72 shows the amount of time it takes for a number to double based on compounding interest. And so as the numbers increase, it shortens the time, therefore putting on more pressure on the airlines and airports to meet the volume and to implement the infrastructure expansion. Cargo volumes have also reached 62 million tons and has reached the peak of $120 billion. So that is also a big number. So there are a couple of challenges and opportunities that the report shows. It mentioned that there are funds that are being restrained, and there are a number of geopolitical and economic factors um, that require ongoing attention, such as supply chain issues and regulatory burdens. So sometimes regulatory burdens means that one country does not, for reasons this is not able to meet the requirements that IATA puts out, and so therefore adjustments need to be made, and then this requires more negotiation in order to those regulatory practices be met. The report also talks about environmental sustainability initiatives. So we talk about sustainable aviation fuel, as well as improving fuel efficiency and reducing the overall carbon footprint of the industry. And so again, they issue these recommendations, and then the various countries adopt those recommendations and either turn them into best practices or a law that the airlines or the industry must comply with. And if they fall out of compliance, then there is an auditory procedure. And what could also happen is that airlines could face restrictions or lose their interline or co-share agreement losses could result if they're not falling to compliance. So for an example, a co-share agreement, a passenger flies from the United States on a U.S. carrier to Hawaii and then transfers to another airline to Asia on a code share. So it's two different airlines running that route. If the code share is not in compliance, then they lose the right to participate in that ticket share, which inhibits their profitability and market loss. So airlines do not want that to happen. The report also talks about technological advances, the implication of artificial intelligence, and how it affects the industry and how it's going to affect profitability and the implementation of these new procedures. So the issue with artificial intelligence and technology is that as more airlines adopt the same technology as part of their practice, passengers run the risk of losing the ability to distinguish one airline from another airline apart from the logo and the scarf that the flight attendants wear, the color of the scarf, because everything else has been so automated. So with anything that the industry comes out with, there's obviously pros, but there are also some challenges that the industry will face when they implement these technological advances.
Okay, so one of the points in the industry report is that use of sustainable fuel, which is expected to, the target is to reach net zero carbon emission by 2050.
Yeah.
But the sustainable use of, I mean, the fuel, sustainable aviation fuel usage is likely to be used only 0.53% of the global demand by 2024.
Yeah.
Do you expect in the next 25 years we'll be able to reach to the net zero carbon emission through this route?
Well, in the future, we're going to see more electric aircraft, which will eliminate fuel consumption and fuel pollution. However, I'm not sure if it's going to work for the big commercial aircraft, but we'll see it more for smaller aircraft for sure.
Okay. Now moving on, based on what IATA report has produced in 2024 review report, how do you see the impact of that report on the carriers in the aviation industry, which is the current topic, and how do you see that impact going on into the future as well? What are the opportunities and the growth areas in the industry based on the report of IATA 2024?
So the IATA report of 2024 is very comprehensive. So we need to do a little bit of applied interpretation into the report because it talks a lot about finances. However, the industry shows strong industry growth and a lot of job opportunities, both within the passenger and the cargo traffic increases. So they show numbers of nearly 5 billion passengers and cargo traffic increase as well. So this obviously means a lot of jobs for passenger-related services, both in flight and above wing and in below the wing, and as well as administrative roles. It is said that on average, each aircraft requires between 60 and up to 140 people to operate one aircraft, and by flight crew to administrative roles. So, and that depends on the complexity of the service flow and the setup of the airline. So that's a significant number for each aircraft. The industry shows a strong revenue growth, which is projected to reach $996 billion, which is likely to increase and require infrastructure development and expansions. So there's lots of job opportunities related to infrastructure development. So that means runway expansions as well as terminal expansions, but not to overlook the passenger service. With the increase of passengers, it means more buses and taxis and hotels, and all those types of services that passengers also need. The report talks about technological advancement, including artificial intelligence and the growing focus of artificial intelligence in aviation. So this also means expanded growth for job opportunities for people that are skilled in computers and artificial intelligence that can bring an applied application to the aviation industry, as well as sustainable fuel options. So the industry is constantly looking for ways to preserve the environment. So anybody that does careers in environmental sciences, engineering, or fuel technology to support the development and implementation of sustainable aviation fuels will always find employment, but you have to come in with the correct credentials. There's an emphasis also on sustainable and environmental focus. So the zero carbon emissions that you mentioned earlier for 2050 will drive the demand for careers focused on sustainability, including roles in environmental policy, sustainable practices, and green technologies. So anybody that is passionate about the environment and that comes with the appropriate credentials will find employment in this area around the world. And the economic and geopolitical considerations. So the resilience and adaptability, the industry needs to navigate the economic and geopolitical challenges that highlight the importance of strategic planning and risk management. So as we mentioned before, the world is becoming more and more globally integrated. So this has a great opportunity for those that are globally minded, that track numerous time zones on their cell phone or like multicultural food. However, it also comes with its own challenges because the aviation industry is set on Western norms of what is socially appropriate. However, as emerging developing countries take a bigger market share of the aviation industry, this will put a challenge on how the industry views what is socially appropriate and standard practices. So this will also require an adaptation by the airlines and the airports in order to incorporate different cultures. There's also professional training and development. So IATA offers many courses of training and certification programs that are likely to expand as the industry expands. So don't hesitate to look up the IATA website and enroll in any courses that are of interest to you, and we will see an expansion in that area as the industry continues to evolve. And finally, there's an emphasis on diversity and inclusion. So as the industry becomes more and more, as the world becomes more and more globally connected, there's a greater need for diversity and inclusion within the industry, both within the workforce and facing the passengers. So this will mean a diverse workforce, meaning the inclusion of women in male-dominated roles such as pilot and aircraft engineering programs. So we're going to be seeing a bigger focus on gender equality and providing opportunities for underrepresented groups to promote inclusive practices across the aviation industry. So I think there's lots of good things that are that this report can cover. And for those that are considering a career in aviation, there are plenty of opportunities.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, it's the report obviously is giving a very positive outlook for 2024 and beyond that. And there are so much of opportunity, obviously, based on the growth across the globe for the industry. And as you rightly mentioned, I think the world is more and more interconnected now than ever before. So that leads to bigger opportunities as we go along. So now to recapture or summarize the all the opportunities and also to reinforce the four major areas which you have actually explained in your book as well in terms of the opportunity. Can you take us through those four top opportunity areas for the aviation industry?
Yeah, so there are four main careers that I talk about in my book, and one is pilot, air traffic control, aircraft engineer, and aviation management. So pilot, many people think pilot, oh, commercial pilot, but don't overlook seaplane pilot, ice pilots, helicopter pilots, corporate jet pilots. And so we need those also not only for long haul flights, but also doing remote work as well. Many regions of the world have difficult terrain. For an example, British Columbia, lots of mountains, which are very difficult to navigate. And so electrical companies may have their own pilots to run wires or cables and do work on terrain that is not accessible by road. So don't overlook those types of opportunities as well. So there's lots of training opportunities for pilots. Many countries are reporting a pilot shortage, and this poses a risk also that regions of the world, for an example, the Middle East, that is more affluent, they'll just increase the wage, and pilots will apply because they'll be motivated by the higher pay. And as well as there's a significant growth in Asia as well for pilots. And so it's possible that pilots who do not have financial or family roots may choose to work for an Asian carrier because they have better work-life balance or more job stability or better routes than they may at home. So this creates an interesting dynamic for global pilot supply and demand. The next one is air traffic controller. So each country has its own air traffic management system. And so in Canada, for an example, we have NAV Canada. And in the UK, it's NATS, the National Air Traffic Service. So to get into those types of roles, it is highly recommended to take an air traffic control program offered by a college or a university in your local jurisdiction. And with that certification, it'll be much easier to move into those roles. But with the coming integration of next gen, it's going to create a changing environment because typically aircraft communicated with an air traffic control tower on the ground. However, with next gen, they'll be communicating via satellite, which means that there's no region over the world that is inaccessible by satellite. So before, as aircraft crossed the ocean, they had no navigation service available to them because the radio frequency wouldn't go that far. However, now with satellite, you've got total, complete global coverage, which is a game changer for the industry. And as more aircraft and countries adopt these systems, it'll change the how air traffic is managed in the sky. The third occupation is aircraft engineer. So this role can also include aircraft avionics, aircraft navigation, aircraft electrical systems, aircraft design, and also the recycling of aircraft parts after they've been after an aircraft has been decommissioned or retired. Um, so there's lots of opportunities in that area. I think we're going to see additional continued demand or curiosity for supersonic flight as well as outer space flight. So as the years progress, we're still going to be seeing those types of interests and developments. And so those people interested in that need to come with the appropriate certification, which is available in your local jurisdiction. And finally, aviation management. So this includes airline and airport managers, both at all levels, but also not to overlook the international and global organizations such as IATA and ICAO and the FFA that also require aviation management. So you can have management of people and management of things, schedules or aircraft or machinery. So there's the world is becoming more complex, and so in this way, young professionals wanting a career in these fields need to come with the appropriate credentials, which are available at both the undergraduate and at the graduate level.
Fantastic. I think it's a great opportunity for young people to look at various opportunities which are available. And I'm sure if somebody wants to have a one-on-one conversation with you, they'll be able to reach out. I will share all the details about you, how to reach out to your details. So they can have a one-on-one conversation to understand more about the industry and take advantage of your knowledge in this field. So before we close, would you like to give any other remark or closing remark on today's conversation?
Yes, well, thank you again so much for inviting me. So recently I launched the book called The Ultimate Guide to Careers in Aviation. And so the book is designed for young people, Gen Z, aged 12 to 28. So people that are just coming out of high school and they're open to exploring different career options, then this is the book for them. It's available on Amazon. I also have a LinkedIn page, so I'm active on social media, and you're welcome to follow me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook.
Fantastic. Yeah, sure. I think we will share all those details on the show notes. I'm sure a lot of youngsters and their parents who are seeking such information will reach out to you or start following you or even buy your book. And Julian, once again, thank you so much for giving your time and being so patient in explaining everything about the industry. It's very fascinating industry, and I'm sure a lot of youngsters will take up ideas from this conversation and take up roles in the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me as a guest on your podcast. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be able to inspire other people and encourage them to pursue their passion. The aviation industry has everything that a young person will want: global connectivity, camaraderie, career progression. So the industry offers a lot of good things, so that young people are looking for in a career. Um, So without hesitation, I highly recommend people to consider opportunities in this field.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. We sincerely wish you could take something from our conversation today and be able to apply it to your life in a positive way. We value your feedback. This can help us improve our future episodes. So share your thoughts to serve you better. If you want us to focus on a topic which you think is of importance, let us know. We will share our expertise in future episodes. So, see you soon with a new topic and help you in your career journey.